In a world preoccupied by money and possessions, there is one group which is excluded from these concerns. Where we worry about the economy and the fact that we may have to cut down on foreign holidays, their one overriding issue is simply to stay alive each day. As we stress about dining out, straining our family budget, the income of these people means that the most fortunate amongst them can afford an egg once a week and a banana 3 times a month. They have no problems with rising electricity bills and water rates. They have no electricity or water or flushing toilets. By the time we leave for our offices each morning, they will have already been out since dawn, scavenging in the filth and squalor of the local tip. Whereas the media feeds us a diet of a faltering economy and rising crime, they have no newspapers, no television, no radio. You don't find these in tin-roofed, mud-walled shacks in the middle of sprawling slums, where the law of the jungle applies. Who are they? These are the people who fall below the radar of governments in the Third World, who pay lip service to human rights, the world's impoverished widows and their sad children. More than 100 million widows worldwide live in life-threatening conditions because of poverty. Almost 70 million children of widows are currently facing a lingering death by starvation. 1.5 million widows and 2.5 million of their children will die this year because of drinking contaminated water. 100 million children of widows die before they reach the age of 5. In India alone, there are a minimum of 20 million widows living in extreme poverty. With widowhood often associated in developing countries with bad luck, they can become social outcasts overnight. Where their partners have died from HIV, they're often thought to be murderers. Often forced from their homes without even their most meager possessions by their own husbands' families, they face a life almost bereft of hope. Their only crime: the widows have lost their husbands, the children have lost their fathers, and to them, it seems that no one cares. Well, one man does. His name is Raj Lumba. More than 10 years ago, he and his wife Veena set up a charity, the Lumba Trust, dedicated to alleviating the plight of widows and their children. His inspiration? His widowed mother, Srimati Pushpawati Lumba.
I set up this charity together with my wife Veena in 1997 to raise awareness of the plight of the widows and their children around the world who are suffering from poverty, illiteracy, disease such as HIV and malaria, conflict and injustice. I was actually inspired by my mother, who became a widow at the age of 37 in Punjab in India. I grew up as a widow's son because I was only 10.5 years old when my father died. And I saw firsthand the suffering, the prejudices which my mother suffered through being a widow. Mrs. Blair, wife of the former British Prime Minister, Tony Blair, became involved with the trust right from the beginning. She was our first patron, and then in 2004, she agreed to become the president.
The Lumba Trust has been helping to alleviate the plight of widows and their children for over a decade. We currently operate in 9 countries worldwide. In India, we educate children of poor widows in every state. In South Africa, in conjunction with Virgin Unite, Sir Richard Branson's charity, we are dealing with the problems of HIV/AIDS orphans. In Kenya, Uganda, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, we're working with the Youth Business Trust, set up by the Prince of Wales, to ensure that widows have business opportunities to help them support their children. And recently, in Rwanda, working with Oxfam, we have established our entrepreneurship program to help widows educate their children in a country where more than half the women are widows because of the effects of genocide. Across the world, we see so many young widows widowed because of the curses of HIV/AIDS and of conflict, and by helping these innocent victims, we are making sure that their countries do not continue in a cycle of decline and poverty.
But none of this would be possible without the help of other people who care. You, the supporters and backers of the Loumba Trust's work. We may all feel we're suffering from the downturn in the world economy. But do we know what suffering really is? Consider for a moment if you didn't have anything, where your stomach and those of your children are swollen not from overeating, but from the lack of food, where you have no safe water supply, no electricity, no home, and nowhere to turn to. A life where you see no future for yourself, or even more tragically, your children. No future, no hope. The Loumba Trust, with your help, can provide that hope. Today, we're celebrating the festival of Diwali. Here is your opportunity then to shine light into those dark corners of our world where you find impoverished widows and their children. Please give what you can, then perhaps a little more. Enjoy your evening.